Should the environment for viewing art, especially in museums, be extended beyond the gallery spaces? How does a shift or recognition of that ability then impact our experiences beyond the museum? And then kind of most importantly, is this art? All of these questions were ones that were repeated in my process of creating. So when I was studying architecture as an undergraduate, I experimented with the relationships between constructed forms and the natural landscape and how scale affects those relationships. For the last 2 decades, I have used photography as a means to test these interactions. My practice today continues to explore these same principles, but now in sculpture and installation. This exhibition, Props, explores these ideas within the museum context. All of these props are interventions within Zaha Hadid's Rosenthal Center that activate underutilized areas. The locations for each intervention are spaces where viewers aren't expecting to see art. Restrooms, hallways, and stairwells, where art has never been shown in the building. Many of the areas were meant only for circulation. In some cases, finding the intervention isn't obvious, making the act of discovery an important part of the experience. I wanted to use materials that were present in the space, but also expose some of what was embedded in them. I just had a conversation with Amara about the piece on the 4th floor with the electrical cables. And she asked me, do you want me to move the bench out of here? And I was like, no, the bench is what makes this piece in some ways, because first of all, visually it grounds the space, I think, but also it would enable someone to sit down and be immersed in this thing. Sitting down and having it behind you and being able to look kind of side to side. And it also makes it feel like this is not a gallery wall, it's a hallway with a bench in it. There's so much planning involved, like how are these things gonna stand up? But I think it's actually a reflection of a deep understanding of photography in a strange way, because as a photographer, you work so hard at trying to pre-visualize 3 dimensions in 2 dimensions. And I think that skill of pre-visualization carried over to this project in my ability to pretty closely, I think, be able to imagine how the pieces would look in each space. I mean, I think I came into the process of installing the works with the understanding and anticipation that the works would change once they were placed into the spaces. And so when I saw them in the space, at first it was like kind of shocking because my perception of things changed so drastically. Pieces that looked big to me when I was making them looked smaller. Some pieces that felt smaller looked bigger. Seeing them in their context, eventually, like, everything kind of came to life. All of those early imaginings that I had walking through the building, trying to place these pieces in my head. But there was just this long process and journey in between where things, would radically shift and change. So it's really gratifying to see them now kind of really pretty closely to how I had imagined them in the beginning.